right, guys. So one of the biggest questions I've gotten since I bought the TRX is, why didn't I get a Silverado ZR2? Well, let's talk about it. So guys, what we're going to do today is we're going to answer this question. We're going to answer why I got the TRX instead of the Silverado ZR2. Now, for those of you who aren't familiar with my channel, the reason why this question comes up, in my opinion at least, is I used to own a Colorado ZR2, and I sold that in preparation for getting the TRX because I had already done some research on the ZR2, and there are 6 things. So not just one thing, there's 6 reasons why I got the TRX over the new Silverado ZR2. So I'm a Chevy guy. For those of you who are familiar with the channel, you're going to know that I have a lot of Chevys in my history. I've owned a lot of Chevys in the past, obviously. I have Chevys on the channel currently. My most recent truck was a Colorado ZR2, which is obviously a Chevy. And yeah, so the logical truck for me, for most of you, was a Silverado ZR2. Now, we're going to go over 6 reasons why I didn't get the ZR2. So let's start right into it. We're going to skip the formalities. There's not going to be any intros or anything. Let's just get right into it. Number 1 is the biggest reason, and you guys might be able to hear it in the background here, is there was no supercharger. The truck was naturally aspirated V8, which in most situations is not a problem, but with the existence of the TRX, 420 horsepower just isn't enough whenever you have 702 available. So anyway, moving back the truck, we have reason number 2, which is gonna, of course, be the stock tires. Stock tire height, 33s. The truck doesn't come with 35-inch tires, which is very, very strange. You have the ZR2, which is looking to fit into the TRX/Raptor crowd, and then you give it 33-inch tires. Yeah, I'm not sure I understand the reasoning behind that. But ultimately, I don't like the idea that it has 33-inch tires when the Ford Raptor and the TRX both have 35s from factory, and the Raptor you can actually equip with 37-inch tires. So if you want to be in this category, you got to have at least 35s. Anyway, moving on from there, we have the rear end, where I'm not a big fan of the way the exhaust is set up. So the exhaust dumps underneath the bed of the truck. On the TRX, you have 2 beautiful dual exiting exhausts right above or built into the actual bumper. So it looks a lot more premium, it sounds more premium, all that stuff. Moving along though, for reason number 4, and it's going to be the overall design of the truck. I'm not actually a big fan of the way the exterior looks. The front end looks strange to me, being kind of almost like snub-nosed almost. It's hard to explain, but it's just obviously a personal preference. All of these are my opinion, of course. If you like the ZR2, that's totally fine, but for me, I don't like the design choice of the outside. The big one for me is that the side profile is just perfectly flat. There's no fender bulges, there's no design elements showing that they were trying to perfect aero or anything along those lines. Yes, I know it's a truck and they don't get super aerodynamic, but at the same time, the TRX, the profile of this thing, looks like a freaking supercar, even though it's a truck. It's got wide fenders in the front, bulging fenders in the rear, all to equip larger tires, and it looks really cool because of that. Now, obviously, that's a functional design choice as well, but just from the looks aspect, it's freaking awesome. And for reason number 5, we come into the interior, and that's where reason number 5 lives, and that's going to be the interior design. I'm not a big fan. Now, you guys know, for the new Silverados, the 2022s, they have been re-equipped with some nicer electronics on the interior, and in that case, it's nice. They're moving in the right direction. I do like the electronics, the full digital speedometer area. Of course, the infotainment system is all nicely redone. It looks good. It functions well from what I understand, but it's everything else. So other than that, I'm not a fan of the interior. The seats, the door panels, it all looks kind of cheap. It looks kind of plasticky. I'm not a big fan, especially when you consider the interior on the Ram. Not even just the TRX, but the Ram interior in general is just much nicer than most pickup trucks out there. And then lastly, I'm putting this one as the last reason because it's not a huge one, but it is one that still affected my decision, and that is number 6, the rear suspension. So the rear suspension on the Silverado ZR2 is still a leaf spring setup, which I'm really not sure why they would have done that, given that they've gone with the DSSVs, a stronger setup than even the Colorado ZR2 had. Obviously the front and rear lockers, like that thing should have a better setup suspension, especially if you're looking to compete or even play with the people in the category of the TRX and the Ford Raptor. It's a leaf spring setup. The TRX is a coil spring setup, so is the Ford Raptor. That, to me, I've experienced both, and in my opinion, and a lot of other people's opinions that I've talked to, the rear coil setup is better for on-road and off-road. So why Chevy stuck with the leaf spring setup, I don't know. And it's one of those things where I would rather have nice on-road manners as well as better off-road manners for jumping and general off-roading. I'm not sure why they would have stuck with the leaf springs. I'm sure there probably is a benefit somewhere along the line, but it just seems to me like it makes more sense to go coil. So anyway, guys, that's the 6 reasons why I chose the TRX over the new Silverado ZR2. Let me know down below. Do you guys agree with it? Do you disagree? Let me know what your thoughts are. Of course, I'm always interested in having a conversation about this stuff with you guys because, yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I'd like to view us as a community here, and we value each other's opinions. Now, obviously, all of these reasons here are my opinion. None of this is necessarily fact, or none of this has to be your opinion. This is just strictly my opinion. Now, with all of that said, there were other trucks that were questioned as well. So why didn't I look at the Raptor? Why didn't I look at the new Toyota Tundra? I'll be honest with you guys, I did. I looked at all of those. So the Ford Raptor, the big selling, or not, in this case, not selling point for me, was the fact that it doesn't have a V8 anymore. I really wanted a truck that sounded like a truck that drove like a truck. And the Ford Raptor obviously has that V6 with the twin turbos, which is no slouch, don't get me wrong. It's still a relatively fast truck. It's still faster than the 420 horsepower of the new Silverado ZR2, but at the end of the day, it doesn't have the sound and it doesn't have the same feel. So that was one of the biggest reasons. And the second reason with the Ford Raptor is, again, the interior. I like the electronics setup of the Ford Raptor. The dashboard looked really nice, but other than that, I'm not a fan of the denim style material that they use on the door panels. The door panels and the seats in general feel kind of cheap to me, especially after experiencing the seats here in the TRX or in the Ram in general. But I do like some of the options that the Raptor has, such as the 37-inch tires right from factory, the more functional tailgate, and even the fact that they have an electrical outlet in the bed. I like that stuff. But at the end of the day, the pros far outweigh the cons when getting the TRX over the Ford Raptor. Now, as far as the Toyota Tundra is concerned, I did look at the Tundra. A lot of the same things apply. The size of the tires aren't quite there. The interior quality isn't really up to par. I looked at the Toyota Tundra and the Toyota Tacoma whenever I was looking at my Colorado back in the day, and really felt like the Tacoma's interior just was not up to par. Even though the Colorado's interior wasn't fantastic either, the Tacoma, in my opinion, was it just felt hollow. Like, that's the best way I can describe it, is it felt like there was no substance to it. So even just opening and closing doors, they just felt like there was nothing to it. So I never really cared for the interiors on either one of the two trucks. I don't really care for the exterior on either one of the two either. So I did a lot of research before just jumping into the TRX. It's not like I blindly sold my Colorado ZR2, jumped into the TRX and said, well, it's the best thing out there. This is the best truck out there for me. Odds are very good it is the best truck out there for a lot of you as well, but I don't want to say anything as fact here because everybody's opinion varies. For me, this is without a doubt the best truck on the market right now. I have done the research and I have come to this conclusion. Now, the only reason I wanted to make this video is, like I said, guys, a lot of people question me because of the cars that I have on my channel currently, which are all Chevys. Even the truck that I recently sold, like I said, was the Colorado ZR2. That was a Chevy. So a lot of people are thinking that I'm Chevy brand loyal, and I'm not. I love Chevy. Chevy really does a good job with a lot of their cars, but they're not perfect. None of the manufacturers out there are. So whenever they bring out the Silverado ZR2 and kind of drop the ball, in my opinion, I knew I had to look elsewhere. And the TRX was one of those things that I always had kind of in the back of my head. And once Chevy dropped the ball with that ZR2, it was a no-brainer. I was going with the TRX. So that's it, guys. Let me know what your thoughts are down below. Do you agree with what I'm saying here? Do you disagree? Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. I do want to reiterate here, though, guys, I'm not talking any kind of smack on any of these trucks. At the end of the day, the ZR2 is it's still a cool truck. If that's what you want to get, you're absolutely welcome to do so. Please don't take what I'm saying as fact. This is simply my opinion. The Tundra, the Tacoma, the Colorado ZR2 especially, really cool trucks. Don't get me wrong, I will gladly own a Colorado again someday. Once the new refresh comes out, I probably will own one again on my channel. But I'm just saying, for right now, this is the truck for me. I've done the research, and I wanted to let you guys know that I did the research, and this is what I came up with. Anyway, guys, if you're liking the content, please hit that thumbs up button. Let me know you're liking it so I can keep making it for you. If you have any questions about what we talked about here today, please leave them in the comment section down below. I would love to hear from you. I'd love to hear if you agree or disagree. What's your truck of choice? I know a lot of you guys out there on my channel at least probably have Colorados, but if you were to get a full size, what would you get? If I had to guess, I'm going to say most of you would probably venture towards that Silverado ZR2, but after hearing what I had to say, does that help or hurt your decision? Does it make you think twice about it? Let me know your thoughts down below. Like I said, if you guys haven't subscribed yet, please do. I'm going to have loads of content like this coming you're not going to want to miss. And as always, guys, I will catch you in the next upload.